Welcome back to Project Brupeg. We're installing a full galley into our 57-foot expedition trawler. Last week Damien got the port side wall done, including the frame for our first double glazed window. The glass is due any day now. We have multiple jobs going at the moment because this job is so big, but today Damien gets on with fitting and insulating the air conditioning pipes, finding a really creative solution to a problem that we have.
So this weekend is a long weekend for us. It's a 4-day weekend. We had the first 2 off because we were shattered. We couldn't do anything. And we thought we'd work the last 2 days and power on with this galley install. However, there's 100 millimeters of rain predicted today to fall in like the space of a couple of hours. So that's roughly 4 inches of rain, which happens in this part of the world, but we haven't had it for a while, so it's a bit of a shock to the system. We were going to be doing quite a bit of grinding today and getting that stainless wall up on the air conditioning wall. We do have the ability to do the air conditioning pipe work, so that's all manual. It's just copper pipe that needs to be bent up and then insulated and so on, so we're going to get stuck into that. Technical drawing time. So I've knocked up a blueprint. Well, it's more of a grey print. So this is the area that we're working on in this part of the boat here. So wheelhouse, forward cabins, saloon. I'm going to break this down a bit further. Huzzah! Right, this is the front half of the boat with a bit of a cutaway as to where things are. So you can see the side of the boat sort of comes up here. This here is the deck that we walk on when we're in the galley or the cabin. So the forward cabins go right up the front, and then up here we've got our anchor locker. The forward cabin, there's one on either side, and they're split down the centre line, down sort of halfway across. The galley is a long, thin galley, and it goes pretty much the entire width of the boat from one side all the way to the other. So that galley is about 4.5 meters wide, I think, from memory, and it's about 3 meters wide that way in its widest part, and at the far end it gets a bit narrow and it's about 2.5 meters wide at the far end. Behind the galley we've got the wheelhouse. So the wheelhouse here is a step level, so it's not a full height above the saloon or the galley. It's sort of halfway, and there's a space underneath. That's our battery compartment. So that space is about probably 2.5 feet. What's that, about 800 mil, 900 mil, something like that tall. It's not quite a meter tall. And that's the space that we have to protect from the condensation from these lines. So the lines themselves, I'll draw those in. Cardboard aided design, fantastic. This green dot line is where the air conditioning pipes have to run. So they go down the wall of the galley. That goes down about probably, I don't know, 2 feet, 2.5 feet. It goes underneath the floor of the wheelhouse and above the battery. So the battery itself sits sort of in here in this compartment here. There's a few of them, and then all the electrics are located in this area. So these lines go across the top of the batteries, and that's why we have to make sure that there's absolutely no chance that they're going to drip anything down into that compartment. And it also has to be fire rated. That's why we've used metal pipe and fire rated insulation. So I've added these blue dots in. That's the stainless pipe that we welded in, cut in half. So the green pipes go down the center of that stainless pipe. The blue is the stainless. Goes down the center of the pipe, and we're filled up from here to here completely with fire retardant foam. We now need to go up the wall and out the back of the wheelhouse to get to the outside of the boat and connect it to the AC unit. So from the inside air conditioning unit, through the stainless pipe, up the rear wall of the wheelhouse, through the back of the wheelhouse bulkhead, and out to the air conditioning unit outside. That whole path has to be completely insulated, and that's what we've been working on. But first off, Jess and I are going to go for a walk before the rain starts really pelting down.
I've been out in the rain, getting wetter.
We were going to get stuck into doing the air conditioning piping first thing. However, someone threw it out about 6 months ago, so we have to go into town and grab some more pipe work, and then we can get stuck in and carry on. It's like the blind leading the blind. Jess needs her glasses to see, and she's looking for her glasses. So we have to start buying some woodworking tools, and the one that I need is really expensive. It's one of those tools for life type thing. This is the one I'm thinking of getting. So I need to get a real chunky router, and this is a half-inch chuck on it, so I can put really solid router bits on it, and it comes with a proper base and everything, so you can do nice depth readings and so on, and you've got big handles and all that sort of stuff.
We'll
but
use it so many times. Oh, a bit blurry.
but it's a you know, something you have to consider.
Yeah, this is not an easy buy.
Yeah. This is what we've
Well,
got.
what is though, you know?
This is what we've got at the moment, and it's about quarter of the machine. It's only it's a 1/4 inch chuck, and it's fine, but it's a bit sort of average.
But it's all about timing, isn't it? It's we're at the stage where we've got to do this. So
Yeah.
and it's we thought it was 30 windows, but it's actually 27 windows in the boat. We've got it double glazed, so
Only 27.
only 27.
But
Is
this,
it going to add up?
the reason I always go for AEG is because they have a 6-year trade quality warranty. So, like you can use them commercially for 6 years, and they've got a warranty on them for that full length of time. So they're pretty awesome. Nothing else comes with that length of warranty here.
This will be like door frames.
This will
and
be everything.
Everything.
All the indoor carpentry will be this as well.
Yeah, so it's worth it.
Yeah.
Cool. Last one there.
Well, we were in the shop and we were umming and ahhing about what machine was the right one to buy, and we were trying to figure out, you know, what's the best value for money and all the normal sort of arithmetic everybody goes through. We didn't realise that we were about to receive an amazing offer. We bought the AEG, we brought it home, and we decided that it was the right machine for the job, and we kind of committed to the amount of money that it was going to cost us. We were on the boat the following day, and I received a message from one of Dangar Stew's mates, Peter, and he said, "You guys need a 1/2 inch router, I'd like to buy you one," and he sent me through the specs of an amazing Makita. And he said, "Is this going to do what you need it to do?" And I had to say, "Mate, that's an awesome offer. I've just gone and bought one." And he replied back almost instantaneously with, "No worries, I'll pay for that one. What else do you need? We can get you some tools with the leftover." I had a bit of a conversation, and it was awesome to catch up with you, Pete. It was a phenomenal offer, like completely out of the blue, wasn't expected, and it's going to make a massive difference on the boat. We've got a great router now. I've been able to order a really good set of 1/2 inch router bits with a whole bunch of different shapes and everything. So when they arrive, I'll put them on the camera and show everybody them. But it's because of Pete's amazing generosity that we've been able to get this for the boat. And it's going to be something that I reckon we'll use every day when we're doing the woodwork for the inside of the boat. So thanks again, Pete. It was an awesome surprise. Cheers, mate.
Dame found the AC pipes that he wants. They're already insulated, but he's going to strip that off. He's got a plan to make the insulation much better.
When your life's been put on hold for far too long.
Done. Jesus, we're up to $730 so far.
Ooh, but it's good. Get the job done.
Breaking loose and leave the things that kept you chained. So when you find the strength to really shed your skin, all you really need to do is
I'm really stoked. We have a bloody incredible router now.
It's amazing.
I've got no bits for it. We have to go and buy some bits, but that's the hard bit's done.
Well, the glass is coming on the 18th, so that's 2 weeks away.
14th.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
good. So just a bit under?
Yep.
Right, so we've got 2 weeks to find the bits.
And it's the second now or something like that.
Yeah,
So.
just got to get it done before the glass comes, and then we'll get that window in the first one.
Yeah. And we've got the drill so that we can modify because I realised that the gap between the two panes is going to be too big. Because our Patreons basically saw what I did.
They called you on it?
They called me on it.
They're so good. They're so good. They're so helpful. Oh my god, we're so lucky.
Yeah.
It's like we're not on our own doing this, you know.
I know.
The silly mistakes that we're too tired to notice.
Well, the
you know.
stuff we don't know, we don't know.
Yeah, that too.
They do.
There's a lot of expertise in the community actually.
We are going to make the gap between the two panes much smaller, so it'll be 16 millimeters. And to do that, we need to router the recess that I put into the window frame. It has to be routed deeper. I can't do that with my router because my router's a 6mm shank. Well, it can only have a 6mm shank bit, and that just wobbles and chatters too much when it's that far out. And it gets real scary when you're using it too, because I've snapped a couple off when I've kind of pushed them beyond what they're capable of doing.
You do that?
Yeah, I know it's hard to believe, but yeah, so with this router we can start doing some even more dangerous things, because when we start pushing that, it'll be really interesting.
No, but you're not going to, right?
Sure.
Yeah, good. As long as we're both on the same page.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We're taking our babies home. the back seat.
We've done the town run, we've got the pipes. So what we need to do now is start figuring out where our pipe runs are going to go. But before we do that, I'm going to show you what we're actually using for our pipes. Pair coil. So this is sort of a common thing that you can get with refrigerant piping, so air conditioning piping, that sort of thing. And you get two different sizes. See, big pipe, small pipe. That's how you can tell there's two different sizes. This is the stuff here. It's basically just copper pipe, same as you'd use for anything else that's a copper pipe based type thing. But it comes with this insulation wrapped around it. We're actually ripping all of this off because that's the stuff we've used in the past and found it to be completely garbage for what we need. The insulation works fine, except for us it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because air can get in between the pipe and the insulation. And in Australia it's really humid, you get a lot of moisture going in there, it freezes onto the pipe and drips down basically as a condensation, and then goes through that foam insulation-y type stuff. It's porous, it drips through that after a while and then drips down into the battery box. We ended up with puddles near our batteries and electrics. So not ideal. We're going to come up with a different solution. The path that we need the air conditioning pipe work to go, the head unit sits up here. This is the indoor unit of the air conditioner. And the gas basically goes down as a circuit through one of these, through one pipe and out the other, goes into this bulkhead here, and this bulkhead is the battery box. Let me show you where it runs through the battery box. Inside the battery box in Brupeg, these pipes, insulated pipes that run along the length of the roof, that's the insulated AC pipes, and you can see they jet off, starts going vertical and goes up the bulkhead at the back of the wheelhouse. Back of the wheelhouse, it snakes up and out the back end of the wheelhouse onto the rear roof. And then the pipes themselves come from the wall here and then down into the various valves that go into the air conditioner. The difference between what these pipes were and what I want to make is not actually a lot. These pipes are slightly too short and that's why I'm replacing them. It's just, you can't, if it's too long it's not a problem, if it's too short you almost can't use them. These are too short. And the reason being is we actually changed from a Akai air conditioner to a Mitsubishi air conditioner. And long story short, the fittings are slightly different in different places. We had to flare a few things and we ended up with short pipes that only just reached. We're going to replace them and just start with good pipes. But I also want to do, bring the pipes through this wall and do a bit of a loop and then go back up. The reason being is I want to be able to adjust those pipes at a later stage if we ever do need to modify something so we're not in the same situation. And we need to insulate these pipes so that there's just no way atmosphere can get to the pipes through that battery box. That's the most critical part. But the rest of it needs to be insulated really well as well, because that determines the effectiveness of how good that air conditioner is. You don't want to be basically compressing gas down and getting it really cold and then losing all of that temperature through just atmospheric, heat loss or whatever as it comes through up until this head unit. So the more effective we can make the insulation, the better we're going to get. The more cold air and stuff we're going to get, or warm air when we start using it as a heat pump. So what I'm thinking of doing is actually just taking the pipe work that I've got, feeding it through as one big long straight run, rip the insulation off, feed it through as one big long straight run, and then gently bend where I need to bend and start pushing it up the wall and everything. There's three tools that you'll use all the time when you're doing copper pipe work. One is a pipe cutter. It's basically just a rolling set of jaws that cut pipe in a really beautiful circular manner. Next is a pipe bender. So this is a radius bender. I can do 3 different pipe sizes on this, but it just gets a nice curve in the pipe and you don't end up kinking or breaking the pipe. And lastly, pipe flarer. So clamp the pipe on this side and you jam the V of this goes down the pipe and basically flares it out, and that's what allows you to seal one pipe onto a fitting or onto a flare nut, that sort of thing. Right. 1, 2. I do need to cut it so I can get it out the wall. Right, I've made sure that this is unplugged. Okay, I need 5.3 metres, so let's do 6 metres and chop the insule off. So one coil is 1.8. Right, what's that? About 3 probably, isn't it?
3 to there. So let's get rid of the shitsolation.
Throw you in the front room. The idea I had was get a hole saw, bop a hole in the wall, and then put some PVC pipe through and run the copper pipe on the inside of that, and then we fill that whole thing up with spray foam and create a real airtight, solid, protected enclosure. However, I don't have any PVC pipe. I thought I did. This is Brupeg. What I do have is a lump and great piece of stainless. So we're going to make a flash looking insulation holder.
If you want to, I'll get you flowers waiting around the bend. Baby, let's just pretend.
Okay, rather than getting the right drill bit, we just butchered through because this is just a center drill.
You okay?
Yeah.
Shit.
Right, bit of luck.
Oh.
Alright, hitting something, but that is going to be our pipe that we'll use. That's looking better. Alright, we're hitting the wall, so that's our maximum. Alright, that's for later. Now let's get these on the board. Can you uncoil them a bit? Oh, that's better. That's good. Yep.
It's in now.
Okay, how far through have you got it?
I don't know. 40 on one and 10 on the other.
Oh, I need like a meter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just. Okay. How you going there?
Half a meter, 2/3 of a meter.
Okay.
Stop.
Yep.
Just pull back.
Yep.
Okay, go here.
Yep.
Okay, that's enough.
Okay. All right. It's probably enough there anyway.
I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah, that's all good. Bit of a blustery old day up on top of the wheelhouse. I know I could have done this job faster by just probably extending the old pipes, not using stainless, just spray foaming it and kind of calling it done. But there's something that really comes from doing the job right, and that's what I like about this boat project. While I'm filming this scene in our galley, quite literally behind the scenes, Jess is reorganising our makeshift galley.
It's not really, well, it's reorganising, but it's wiping all the mould, the dust, the grime, the stuff we've not got to for 2 months. Oh, hang on, delete. Got too fast. But in preparation for the actual kitchen, yes, sorting.
Can you push the stainless pipe into the wall? Yeah, push it in. All the way, all the way.
Ready?
Yep, yep. What?
You're about a foot from the end.
Yep. Okay, that'll do.
Okay. God, I gotta remember to use this, it's been so bloody long. I don't know if we're gonna get her on the other inside radius. Might as well do you at the same time. And that'll do. Lovely. Start working on the vertical bit.
This area of the wheelhouse is where the skipper's seat, the captain's chair, whatever you want to call it, sits normally. This is the back of the chair, so where this one sits here, the captain's chair sits here. This is temporary wiring, this whole setup here that you can see. It's been here for a while, but it's basically, you can see we've got breakers that essentially control the whole boat. So if anything happens, if any circuit does anything funny, this blows. And it's happened a few times where it's saved us. It's been really awesome. It's set up, you know, properly. An electrician actually set this up for us. It's definitely not permanent wiring, but it's safe enough. So it's the right size wiring. We've zip tied it all so that it can't flop around. We've got chafe protection wherever it goes through, you know, holes in the bulkheads, that sort of thing. However, this is, as I say, temporary wiring so that we can make sure that we've got power in the boat for now. What we want to do is start putting cable trays and everything around where the wiring has to go. That's actually going to happen in the water for this particular part of the boat. We've got enough safety gear for now to just wing it, but it's definitely going to be something that we're going to be, you know, progressing into a better and better setup. What we have to do now is carry on with these air conditioning pipes. We've got to get these two pipes, the big one and the small one, they're going to be run in a nice uniform pattern. They have to go out the back of the boat, through the bulkhead here, and then out onto the rear roof where the split system air conditioning unit is behind this wall about here somewhere, and then they sort of go up to the side of the air conditioning unit. Now this whole slab of wall here is stainless, so it's I didn't know that, but I started drilling through it a while back when I put the old pipes through, and can work out why I kept burning drills out and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's stainless, so there's a weld line you can see along there. That's mild, that's stainless, so whatever we do, we're probably going to go through the mild steel. And we're also going to do something like cable glands. So when you're taking a pipe or a cable outside a boat, it has to be a bloody good watertight fitting. There's a few different ways you can do it. Cable glands, this is a tiny little nylon one. You can get stainless steel ones, they all work exactly the same. So what they do, they work a bit like a hose fitting where you tighten up the end and it clamps down fingers or like a rubber O-ring type thing, and it squashes a pipe. If it's a hose, you know, it's a hose pipe, or an electrical cable, same sort of principle applies. So we use these when we're taking anything like this outside the boat. In this case we haven't, we've just thrown these out because they were temporary, but when we do it properly we always make sure that we've got the right fitting. In this case we're going to use nylon. It's not a cost thing. We get these at about sort of $4 or $5. The stainless ones get about $4 or $5 each. Nylon's maybe $1, probably even cheaper than that. I can't remember what we pay for them. So it's not really a cost thing. It's more just an ease thing. These are quite difficult to get in small sizes in stainless. I've been able to get the big guys. So this is I think like 20mm pipe. I've been able to get those in stainless pretty easily. But yeah, the little ones I have struggled, so we use nylon for the little ones, and where I can, I like to use stainless when it goes outside the boat. One thing that I will say about cable glands is watch out for crappy cheap imports. Now, there are some decent imports that are pretty good quality and pretty good price. It's not those that I'm talking about, it's the ones that skimp and they basically make them impossible to use. This is a pretty decent local one, and if I spin this up, you can see you can put like quite a chunky bit of metal or wood or something like that and screw this down onto it and still have plenty of thread for this plastic nut at the top here, right? That's the equivalent, that is a rubbish one. If I spin that up, that's about as far as you can go. So you've got maybe half, possibly even 2/3, you know, reduced thread on some of the cheaper ones, and there's literally cents difference. So when you're buying them, make sure that you get the ones that have the long thread. It gives you so much more options. If you want to, you can even cut that off, but you just can't do anything with these ones. They're only good for basically sheet steel or something, you know, incredibly small, thin, whatever that you're working with. So they do have varying lengths. Just to prove that I've done it, I've put the nut on this here. Without putting the nut on, you can't tighten up the cable gland. So make sure you put the nut on first. Cable gland goes in from the outside. That's why I'm basically showing you to prove that I actually did it. Another trick you can use, stop the nut from going everywhere. So a little bit of tape on. The nut will go down to the tape and you can carry on working. So we need to figure out where our straight line comes to. So about here somewhere we need a curve. So let's pull it back. Throw our threnambulator in there. Nice. Slightly more than 90 in there. And then that will sit just like that. What I will do is hand bend that down against the wall a bit more so that when we insulate it we can have that nicely encapsulated. Alright, let's work on the next one. So it's getting towards the end of the day. I can normally tell when that happens because I start recording when I don't want to and not recording when I do. So you guys have missed me making this one. This is the big pipe. What we've done is basically copied exactly what we did with that small pipe, put the curve at the top here, got a 90 degree, and then bent it down by hand just so that it sort of roughly follows that wall. I don't want it touching the wall because I want to insulate it, and I don't want that basically that wall to the pipe to be on the wall. I want there to be an encapsulation of foam there. I don't have a 3/4 drill for this bigger pipe, so I just got the pipe ready by sizing it up and everything, but I need to go into town and grab a 3/4 drill. I've got a 3/4 hole saw and a 3/4 can't remember what you call them, angry drill bit that goes on the mag drill, but I can't use the mag drill because this is stainless. I can't actually magnet onto it, so I need to use just a regular twist drill. So I'll have to go and grab one of those in town when I'm in there next. So these pipes are ready to go, just need to basically throw the cable glands on, drill them out, throw the cable glands on. One of them is done, this one is sized up, this one needs to get enlarged. Once that's finished, we can bolt the outside up and then we'll do the flaring and everything later, and then we can start working on the foam on the inside so that we can get the kitchen finished. Now that we've got this stainless cut to length and it's all sort of trimmed and filed and it's lovely, like my wife, what we need to do is weld this stainless into the mild steel. So this hole that we cut with our hole saw, I think it's 2.5 inch from memory, that's basically a nice snug perfect fit with the pipe, so we're going to be able to just TIG weld that in without the need for any filler rod. But what I do need to do is take all this paint off. So I'm going to, because we're inside, I don't want to grind. So I am just going to use the little orbital sander with a vacuum cleaner on it and just take paint off around the edge, and that's going to allow me to slide this stainless steel pipe in and get a nice join. The storeroom of doom. This is the gas that I'm using, so argon and helium. You can go a wee bit faster because of the helium versus 100% argon, but this is the thing I don't necessarily know if it's going to work. I'm right on the red line, so the green is basically full to the right and empty to the left, and yeah, we are right on the red line. Hopefully I'll make it through. There we go, pretty chuffed with that. Probably could have done some of the joins a bit better, but that will be absolutely sweet for what we need.
Whoa!
Go away, that'll do.
Baby, that's really amazing.
That'll do, eh? Right, what I want to do, the air conditioner pipes for the head unit up here sort of come straight down. Now I don't want to just curve these up and go straight into it. I want to do a bit of a loop so that I've got some excess. If I ever need to extend these or muck around with them or do anything silly, I want to have a big loop so that I can basically just clear off some of the insulation, pull the pipe up a bit closer and re-flare it, whatever we need to do. Length is irrelevant. We've only got about 3 meters between this surface here and the actual outside unit. I can't remember what they handle standard. I think it's like 5 meters or 8 meters or something without any extra gas needed. So length is irrelevant. It's more just workability. We'll do exactly the same on the outside as well. So we'll do a bit of a loop on the outside. But what I want to show you, I'm going to do a big, sort of quite a large curve, and you get these things, and it basically looks like a big spring. They're bendy. You can do all sorts, and there's different sizes. So this one's slightly bigger, slightly smaller. But what this allows you to do, slide it over the pipe, and then you can bend the pipe by hand to any sort of shape you want. And this is really quite strong and stiff, and it stops the pipe from kinking, and it means that you can be pretty aggressive with the pipe and know that you're not actually going to damage it, and then you just slide this off the end when you're finished. This is the pipe cutter that I was showing you earlier. Basically you've got like a pizza cutter, you've got a sharp wheel down the bottom here, and then you've got a couple of rollers that have a groove machined into them, and that wheel aligns with those rollers. So when you screw this part down, the rollers come down and touch on it. So one-handed, if I screw that, you can see it gets closer and closer to that roller, to the cutter, sorry, the rollers get closer to the cutter, and you can basically chop pipe. So I'm going to chop this copper pipe below me here, and I'll show you exactly how it works. So you just wind it out. Okay, so it's on there. You can sort of see how it sits there with the flat roller and then the pizza cutter type thing, and then you quite literally just spin it round and round, and as you go round you can tighten that up slightly, a little bit every now and again, and you can see I'm getting a perfectly circular cut, so it's going deeper and deeper into that copper. You just keep rolling around, give it like a quarter twist, say every turn, something like that. It doesn't have to be super aggressive on copper, and eventually it'll just pop straight off. It's getting pretty close now, I'd say. And then you're left with basically a perfect cut. Last trick is get the little blade on the side and you give it a spin. It's a wee bit hard with one hand like this, but you give it a spin like that, and it pretty much takes any of the burrs out on the inside. It's not super critical because you're going to be flaring it soon, and that'll give it the business, but that's just a way of stopping any rubbish going down in the pipe. With the ends of those pipes cut off nice and square, we can just get our spring bender gadgets, slide them up, drop that one down, and let's start bending these guys. So pretty hefty bend. I'm sort of bending it into the tube as well, which is what I'm after. Come straight down.
Without love.
it's not absolutely perfect. It's not like a mandrel bend, but none of the kinks or anything like that are going to like crimp the pipe. So it's the same diameter, inside diameter pretty much the whole way through every bend that I've just done. So that's enough for the refrigerant to flow really easily and to know that I've got heaps for, you know, down the road. Right, now the big one.
Some people walk through this life, not on their feet but on their head, standing on the edge of a night, hoping to goodbye, hoping to goodbye. But so much stronger than you.
So the way the air conditioning pipework connects together, there's no seals or gaskets or anything like that. You basically just got copper pressed hard against copper. It's a soft metal, so it basically deforms to suit whatever shape it needs to make sure that it's going to fit. This is an old pipe, and you can sort of see just, maybe, if I do that, you might be able to see the top of it has a little flare, 45-degree flare on it. That's because of the shape of this tool. So this flare here creates, when it jams in there like that, it deforms it on a 45-degree angle right the way around the pipe. This fitting here is the corresponding. So the nut basically pulls that pipe tight up against a 45-degree angle that's on the bottom of that fitting there. So it's really important when you flare pipes, make sure you got the nut on the pipe first, because if you don't, there is no possible way of getting it on. You'll make that mistake 3 or 4 times before you really learn that lesson. That's from experience. The sequence that you need to copy every time you do a pipe flare is put the nut on first, then put your pipe clamp on, whatever size it needs to be. The flaring tool goes onto that, and the pipe clamp sits where it needs to sit. So, and then you tighten it up so that it's like pretty much as tight as you can get it. Now you're not going to crush the pipe. The pipe clamp's designed not to do that. Tight. That's better. Normally it's about now that you realise that you haven't got the nut on, so you have to do a commensurate amount of swearing, cut the flare off and then start again.
Did you do that?
No, not this time. You can sort of see how it sits in there really snugly, even without the nut. It fits really beautifully. Put the nut on and that'll hold up really tight. This is a gas tight seal now, so that copper that we flared on this pipe is going to blend into this. When we clamp those together, it's going to squash and basically bond nice and tight. You don't need any other gaskets, and that there won't ever leak. Provided that, you know, nothing untoward happens to the lines, we won't have to touch those again. That's the inside AC piping done for now. So what we need to do is insulate all of those pipes. So that'll involve putting polystyrene insulation panels like these guys here, and we'll put them around these pipes, and then we'll spray foam the gap, so there'll be a big gap around them, and they'll be fully encapsulated, as well as that pipe that'll be completely full of spray foam as well. And yeah, we'll fill that right the way up.
You can call me stupid. You can call me sheep. You can say I'm lazy. You can say I'm weak.
Look, the cable tray in the corner, that is basically the wall ready to start shaping. So we need to put rib nuts in, but we need to get the stainless in next and start actually shaping it to the roof. But while all of that's been going on, one of the scariest things a man can experience, Jess has gone through and cleaned up my camera workbench. This is where I have all of my cameras and lenses and shit and batteries and whatever. She's over here bopping away, organising. I'm kind of terrified of the result, but I also know that I'll love it afterwards. Hello.
Hello. Listening to a bit of shaping.
One of the things that I have to do with these pipes is I don't want the copper to be, like the copper pipe, or to be either touching each other or resting on the stainless pipe that was welded in. I want basically full encapsulation and foam. Now the pipe is wiggly and bendy and I can't straighten it out along that length, so that's out. What I can do is jam polystyrene in real strategic bits to push it out and keep it in the middle of the pipe. Because this stuff here, it doesn't matter if this gets encapsulated because it's insulating itself. So Basically what my plan is to jam sticks of this stuff down, mainly in the middle of the tube, kind of get the pipe roughly central, so it's going to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be, and then fill it up from there. Now, to fill it up, this is what I'm using. That's the standard nozzle, so you screw that onto the canister, and you basically pull the trigger, and it all goes out that there. However, I needed it slightly longer, so we found that if you just put it in a piece of tube like this, you can push it as much as you want. This is 2 meters long, so more than enough to go to the end of that pipe. So we'll push this, we'll feed it all the way down, you know, whatever, all the way down, and then we can just squirt the gun, and then as we fill it, we can just pull this gently out and basically foam, you know, in a big wall and fill all the way along that pipe. It might take a couple of cans to do it, but it's easy. You just unscrew it, put another one on, off you go again. So it's a real easy way that we found when we were doing our dinghy. We foamed inside our dinghy. It's a great way to do inside a tube. Yell it when you're ready. I've had a slight issue. Nothing to see here. I need to hold it on, obviously. Okay. It gets quite a bit of pressure. Okay, it's coming out, I can see it now.
So what?
It's just about here.
The noises have stopped in here. They're coming out.
Fucking hell.
What?
If we were wondering if it was going to be messy.
It's not bad, it's good. That's going to expand, so you might not want to fill it all the way, eh?
Yeah. Right.
It's going to come out this end if it's going to come anywhere, and we'll just clean it out.
Yeah. Is it coming out the other end?
No.
No.
There was a lot of pressure. It was really loud. No, it's worked beautiful at this end.